Hi everyone, it's Casey from TorontoRelationships.com and I'm here with Red Herring today of the Toronto School of Burlesque. Now, it's been a very interesting class. I had so much fun with Red Herring, learning intro burlesque moves. It's just such a sensual experience to really be a part of burlesque. And I have a fascinating interview with Red Herring for you, and I hope you enjoy.
Well, when I was in school, I realized that I'm not good with kids. And being a teacher is a wonderful profession for somebody else. So I ended up working in the curriculum services for Toronto and transitioning into a corporate life. And from my drama years in school, I just wasn't happy. I would go to the theater a lot, I would see theater a lot, and I would always think about when I was in dance class and why couldn't I do that anymore. So I met a burlesque dancer at a Halloween party, and she told me about burlesque and pulled me out to a show the next night, and then I started classes immediately. Burlesque comes from, if you go back far enough, you have the British blondes coming over to America and making a splash. But a very abridged history is burlesque used to be part of comedy shows. So burlesque itself means to satirize or to parody. And we used to be on stage with comedians in chorus lines. And one time, legend has it, a girl dropped her glove by accident. And the audience went crazy. And so burlesque was born. Eventually, the girls started to overshadow or sparkle over the comedians, and it became less about the comedy, less about the talking, and more about the Ziegfeld Follies and all these lovely girls in these gorgeous costumes. The Toronto School of Burlesque started about 3 years ago by accident. I was working at a local pole dancing school, and the instructor asked me if I wanted to teach in a room next to them. And I said, yes, I would love to. And she was like, okay, you start in 2 weeks. Last year, I spent a month in Europe, which was my first time in Europe, and I started the Polish Burlesque Festival at the first ever Polish Burlesque Festival.
Wow.
And it was an amazing festival. I had such a great time. The producer there, Betty Q, had performed for me a couple of years ago. And it was wonderful to see her again and see everything that she's been working on. And then I went from there to Bratislava, where I taught. And I went from there to Hamburg, where I performed at the Queen Calavera for 3 nights in a row during a rock music festival with some other amazing performers. And it was a great time. And then I came back for a month, and then I went away for a month again, all across the US, where I stayed for the longest time in Hawaii, and I performed burlesque in Hawaii.
Wow.
And I need to go back. Burlesque or non, I need to go back. The people were amazing, and when you're touring, it's always wonderful to stay with local performers, and we're kind of like this big worldwide family where we all know each other and we're all kind of friends immediately when we meet. So I was hosted by so many amazing people on both of my tours, and we host a lot of people here as well. When I'm teaching burlesque, I like to tell the girls to pretend that you're a goddess on stage. When you're on stage, you're a goddess. Even if you're playing a girl, you're a goddess playing a girl. Now, burlesque doesn't have to be sexy, but when we're up there, we're generally this ideal of femininity. Now, I recently was in New York, where I performed my Muppet number as Beaker. And it's not necessarily what one would think is a sexy number. But humor and sexiness is also tied in very, very closely. So it's kind of allowing people to be free and figuring out what they love and what they like and what entertains them and what makes them feel. And if that is sexy and erotic, then you can completely go in that direction. But if you just want to be a bit of a dork and play in a Muppet head on stage, you can do that too. My audience is, depending on the act that I'm doing, the audiences are always very, very welcoming. There's a misconception that we have a lot of male audience members, and we don't. We have about 60% female audience at a burlesque show. Burlesque dancers are kind of like rock stars are to men. A lot of men see rock stars and they really want to be that cool. A lot of women see burlesque dancers and we really, really identify with that. The beauty, the crazy extravagance, the false eyelashes and the wigs. We want that. So a lot of our audience is actually female. And they are almost always at a burlesque show welcoming and friendly and warm. Male audience members, there's an ongoing joke that we don't get drinks purchased for us because oftentimes I feel that male audience members are worried about seeming like they're hitting on us. So they're perfectly willing to tell us how much fun they're having, but they don't want to seem like they're hitting on us, so they won't buy us drinks. But I want everybody to know that they can buy me drinks.